Welcome to today's podcast. We've got a secret weapon if you're a salon owner that you're not going to want to miss this. And this secret weapon will help you take your salon to new heights. Imagine this. It's the power of curiosity. There's a quote that says, curiosity is the spark that lights the fire of growth and creativity. Curiosity is a transformative tool in business and in life, but especially in the salon industry. So if you're ready to learn more about the power of curiosity, this is going to be the perfect podcast for you.
Yeah. And, the one thing that we know is like two of the most powerful tools in the whole world are first gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful tool, but another one is curiosity. And when you're curious, the definition of curious is an adjective and it means eager to learn. And what we know is that curiosity opens the door, and truly gratitude sustains the relationship. And so like when we're looking at building relationships or building more of anything that we want in life, when we pair these two things together, it really makes a huge difference. Because I think the one thing that's so interesting is like we are so triggered all the time as human beings. If somebody comes in and they're like, hey, I want to go from black to blonde, and you're a service provider, you're like, wait, what? I don't have 20 hours to be doing this. But the truth is, if you just remain curious and neutral is another good little ingredient to add in there as well. But if you just remain curious, you can uncover so much, and they might not actually even want that. They might just be seeking some sort of transformation, or they want to feel a certain way, or whatever it is. And so curiosity is one of the most powerful tools you can use inside of your business, inside of your life, all the time.
Yes. All right. Well, if you know the childhood story of Curious George, that is a great example of, exactly curiosity, how curiosity can really be key when it comes to really creating something amazing.
Yeah. So what's cool about the story of Curious George is that, Hans and Margaret Rey were German Jewish artists who actually escaped Nazi occupied Europe with the manuscript for Curious George. And so, what's really cool about their story is that they were actually stopped several times when they were trying to escape. And one of the things that was found on them every time was their manuscripts and their drawings and their stuff for Curious George. And so they like to say that Curious George kind of saved them because of other people's curiosity about what it was that they had. And so I think that's what's so cool about curiosity is like when it exists, people want to know more. They're eager to learn more. That's the definition. They're eager to learn more. And so, actually, Curious George started out as a monkey named Fifi, if I remember correctly, and was then later changed when they made it to the U.S. To be Curious George. But there's so many lessons if you've ever watched it or read any of the Curious George books that even in the toughest circumstances, curiosity can be a lifesaver. It can also be a motivator, or it can be a connector. And so, anytime I think that I even see this inside of parenting. When my kids, think that they've reached the end of the road with something, just remaining curious or asking them like, how could you be curious to learn more about that? Or even if like, hey, you might have a friend that, isn't reacting to a situation in the way that you want, and just say like, how can you dive into their reality so that you can understand them a little bit more, to see what can come on the other side. So there's just so many ways that we can use curiosity, from parenting to inside the salon, but it really is one of the most powerful tools on earth.
It is. It makes me want to read Curious George tonight to myself.
You
Because it's such
should.
yeah, like even if you don't know the backstory, like it's really inspiring. I love that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so another opportunity when it comes to curiosity is in leadership. And there's so many different verticals that this can show up in. One can be remaining curious when it comes to finding new team members. I know we've done this as human beings. It's really easy to judge someone, a potential new hire, but just by their resume alone. But to bring someone in or to talk to someone over the phone or Zoom and get curious about their why really helps you understand. And so, I believe in assessment. If the assessment needs to be done, not judgment. And so when you're assessing someone, you're just being with someone to see how they behave, how do they respond. And I remember there's a girl on our team now. When she first started, we had another leader at the time that's no longer here. She's like, I don't know if we should hire her. And I'm like, I don't know. I want to ask her some more questions. And I started asking her more questions, and like she became part of our team. And she's like one of the most successful service providers we know. And so, sometimes you just got to get to know people more before you make that judgment. Remain curious, learn more about them so that you can really see the entire picture. Asking great questions in the interview, such as like, what excites you about helping others feel confident, to uncover those hidden gems that they may have. And I think when you do that, it helps to untap their passion, what they have passion for, and to really see if they'll be a great fit. And if they're not, that's okay too. But at least you've got to learn a little bit more about that person and understand their why, and then you can see if it gets connected to your why. So remaining curious actually will create great impact for you.
Yeah, so good. I think another way that curiosity shows up inside of leadership is when you're thinking about growing current team members. I think a traditional approach to management would be, you got to sell more retail, or, all this, just like get out there and sell. We've got this retail special. Don't forget about this, blah, blah, blah. But when you take a curious approach to that, and you really dive in, because the truth is, like, if their retail numbers are low, what is that they're not even offering retail, or maybe they're not discovering what the client's problems are, so you might just ask them, like, why isn't retail being offered? What kind of questions are you asking during your consultation? What barriers is it basically, that is preventing them from making this happen? Because it could be a fear of rejection, could be a lack of education. A lot of times it's that people have like a negative, like a reactive definition around the word selling or sales. They don't want to be a sleazy salesman. But the truth is, like, when the intention is good, selling is the best thing that you can do, because you're helping solve people's problems. So selling is actually serving. But when you don't remain curious and you just say, go sell more retail, and you don't uncover why it is that they have barriers, you'll never get the results that you want to see. They won't get the results that they want to see, and you won't get the results that you want to see. And you'll just be frustrated in your leadership, because you'll be like, I keep telling them to sell more retail and they don't do it, But the truth is, like, when you are curious and you uncover why they're not doing this, man, what you unlock on the other side, like, that's what makes you realize what a powerful weapon curiosity is.
So good. Another opportunity where curiosity shows up is, like Lindsay was saying earlier, in client interactions. And this is a beautiful gift that you can work continuously with on your team through role playing, through using examples. And when you think about curiosity in client interactions, I know Lindsay was using the example of platinum to or black to platinum, or vice versa. Is like, as service providers, always I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have enough time for this. This is crazy. Why would she ever want this? But to stop sometimes and say, hey, why is that important to you? And I'll never forget, I had this conversation with a team member one time, and I said, just ask her why this is important to you. And she said, she asked the client, and the client said, well, I want to go back to blonde. It's really dark now, but I had chemo. And when I chemo and all my hair fell out, it used to be blonde and it grew back really dark. And so my goal is to get back to where you are. And so do you feel the power and the freedom that creates for someone to be able to give someone what they're searching for is going to make your life better and their life better? And so, like, really asking clients why that's important to them, or why, that would set them up for success, is going to help you collect more data to understand how to create the perfect plan for a client.
Love that. And we know data equals dollars. Yes. And, because you're solving all those problems. And, I think that this can show up in every area with that client interaction. Even like when somebody is asking, what shampoo and conditioner do you use at home, when they get to that portion, or tell me about your at-home skincare routine. remaining curious and neutral is like the most powerful tool because, somebody might say like, I use Suave. Okay. Why did you choose that? Or like, what made you decide to go with that? A lot of times they're like, I don't know. I didn't know what else to use. Or they might say, well, it said it was for fine hair, or it said, whatever. So just remaining curious and neutral, like the worst thing that you can do is say Suave, that is terrible for your hair, and we've all heard this at some point in time, whether it was like in cosmetology school that the instructor shared that with you or whatever it was. Like, if you just remain neutral and curious, like that's what gets you to the other side. Like, and that's truly what a beautiful salesperson does, is that a salesperson is trying to solve somebody's problems. And, if you've hung around our podcast for much time, everything that you do in life is selling. And so why not use your knowledge for good, and so when you're curious in those moments, you can uncover why they're choosing that, why they're using this. I know a lot of estheticians can get triggered by someone saying they use apricot scrub. But if you just ask, what was your goal? Like when you purchased that, what was your goal with that product? And they're like, well, I wanted to, resurface my skin, or I wanted to remove dead skin cells. And then if you say, I would love to show you a product that will actually do that. That's not what, apricot scrub is designed to do. Like there are different molecule sizes or whatever it might be. And so you didn't make a wrong choice, but I have something that could help you reach your goals even better, because the last thing that we ever want to do is make somebody wrong about their choices. But the best thing that we can do is just remain curious and neutral.
All right. So another opportunity to using curiosity is cultivating a curious culture in your salon. And so, like, I love this because it's like building a culture of questions to create an environment where questions are actually celebrated and not fear. Like that you unite as one to ask questions to make every guest experience or every client experience even better. And so, like, having those regular team check-ins that focus on that curiosity, asking questions such as like, what's one thing you've been curious about this week? Or, what's a challenge that you face and how did you explore it? Because when you ask those kind of questions, it gives you the data, like we talked about before as a salon owner, so that you can make decisions quicker. And when you can make decisions quicker, it makes you more confident as a salon owner too. And we know confidence comes from the root word confidere, which means to trust. And so when you trust yourself as a salon owner, it's going to grow. Your salon's going to grow faster because your team's going to feel that. And when you transfer that energy onto your team, like their income is going to grow exponentially as well. So, another beautiful part of that is actually when you pair curiosity with gratitude. Gratitude helps to solidify relationships and being thankful or grateful for someone. So if someone on your team does something for you, to write a thank you note to them to let them know about their great idea and that you appreciated. And you could even include a question to spark even more interest. So I think, pairing questions and then being grateful and showing that gratitude really helps to create a space that is unimaginable in a great way.
I love that. And another thing that can be super impactful inside of your salon business is just really looking at more questions that you could ask to remain more curious. So you could start your team conversations maybe at your next huddle with like, what are you looking to achieve today? And so having them open up about what they want to achieve, and then just diving in a little bit deeper. What do you think your guests are looking to achieve today, or your clients are looking to achieve today? And really just replacing all the assumptions that you have all the time with open-ended questions, I think is so powerful. So asking them like, what does success look like for you? Or, in any situation that they're going into, especially if someone starts spiraling into like, this person has, they want to go from black to blonde, or they want this, or, it's something that feels like a mountain that they're about to climb. Just even saying like, hey, just curious, what would success look like for you? And, when you can bring them back, a lot of times they'll come to a place like, hey, I want the guest to feel beautiful. Awesome. Okay, we can definitely do that. Let's come up with a plan. And so when you encourage that curiosity in your team, you know, that makes them more open to do workshops and role playing and just be more interactive and more authentic and natural, their natural
Mhm.
selves. And so, just never forget how curiosity really paved the way for Hans and Margaret Rey. Because it really is a really cool story when you think about, that curiosity actually saved them, and it saves so many people inside of those stories. And it can truly save you. Like when you embody that same curiosity in your daily interactions, people are just going to view you in a totally different light. In a world full of people reacting to every single situation all the time, their reactive minds are just popping off, going crazy all the time. People are used to reactions. What they're not used to is curiosity. And what they're drawn to is that deeper connection with another. And curiosity is that secret weapon and tool to get you there.
Love that. So, we have a great gift for you today. If you'd love to get access and remain curious to what are the most powerful questions to ask during a consultation, just text curious to 469-283-5590. I'll say that again, text curious to 469-283-5590, and we'll send you that free download over so that you can unlock money inside of your salon today. And so we're going to encourage you to stay curious, stay grateful, and watch your salon and your life transform. Thanks for tuning in.